All right, let's talk about sparkling wine, but maybe not from where you'd expect. Today we're heading to Brazil, specifically to a small town called Garibaldi. It might be small, but its reputation? Absolutely huge. This is the heartland of Brazilian bubbly, a place where history, nature, and just pure passion have mixed together to create something, well, truly special.
So where do these celebrated bubbles even begin? Well, it all starts right here, in these beautiful rolling hills of the Serra Gaúcha. But why here? What makes this one spot the cradle of Brazil's best sparkling wine? To really get it, we've got to rewind the clock.
Okay, so our story really kicks off with a group of pioneers. These were people who looked at a new land and saw incredible potential, and they brought with them a winemaking culture that honestly would shape this whole region for generations to come.
Picture this. It's the late 1800s. Italian immigrants, mostly from the Veneto region, are arriving in Brazil looking for a fresh start. And they didn't just bring their luggage. They brought with them centuries of winemaking know-how. At first, they just planted small vineyards for themselves, for their families. But word got out. Their wines were good. And as that reputation grew, they decided to team up. In 1931, they formed the Garibaldi Cooperative. And that, right there, was a game-changing moment. It basically sealed the town's fate as a wine capital.
And this line just says it all, doesn't it? They found more than a new home. They found the perfect place to grow their dreams. See, it was never just about farming grapes. It was about planting a whole culture, a dream in new soil. And that passion, it's a real ingredient. You can still feel it, and you can definitely taste it in the wines from Garibaldi today.
So, what was it about this particular piece of land that let those dreams take root and, well, flourish? The answer is a single, magical word you hear a lot in the wine world: terroir.
Terroir, it's such a cool concept, right? It's basically the idea that a wine is the voice of the place it's from. It's not just about the grape itself, it's the whole package. The sun, the rain, the soil, how high up you are, all of it comes together to give a wine its unique personality.
And for Garibaldi, it comes down to these three pillars. First, you've got the climate. It's subtropical, so you get this long, slow ripening season, which is just ideal. Then there's the soil. We're talking ancient volcanic rock super rich in basalt. This is huge. It gives the wine a specific minerality and structure you can actually taste. And finally, altitude. Being up around 700 meters means cooler temperatures, and that is the secret to keeping that fresh, zesty acidity and all those delicate aromas that make a great sparkling wine pop.
Of course, you can have the most perfect stage in the world, but you still need the star performers, right? And in Garibaldi's vineyards, the stars of the show are two very, very famous grapes.
And here they are, the absolute power couple of sparkling wine. You've got Chardonnay, the queen. She brings all the elegance, that crisp freshness, those bright notes of green apple and citrus. And then you have Pinot Noir. He's the structure, the backbone. He adds complexity, body, and these delicate little hints of red fruits. When you put them together, you get this perfectly balanced, seriously sophisticated wine. Okay, so we've got the perfect place, and we've got the perfect grapes. Now for the really fun part, the magic. How in the world do they get those tiny, perfect fizzy bubbles inside the bottle?
This is so important. Producers in Garibaldi use the méthode traditionnelle. Yep, the exact same prestigious method they use in champagne. Here's how it works. First, they make a normal, still base wine. Then, and this is the absolute key, they start a second fermentation, but they do it inside each individual bottle. That's what creates those amazing natural bubbles. The wine then gets to hang out and age on the yeast for a while, which adds all this incredible flavor, before they finally get rid of the sediment and pop a cork in it.
Let's zoom in on that aging part for a second. It's called sur-lie aging. And this, my friends, is where so much of the character comes from. While the wine is just resting on those spent yeast cells, the lees, it soaks up these complex, toasty, brioche-like flavors. It gets a richer, creamier feel in your mouth. This single step is what takes a wine from just being bubbly to being truly, truly great.
This quote just nails it, right? The secret is the second fermentation in the bottle. It's not just a process, it's the magic that gives the wine its soul. It's so true. This method isn't some factory production line. It's pure art. It's where science and magic shake hands, and the wine gets its unique soul.
But look, a wine story isn't really finished until it's opened and shared. And in Garibaldi, wine is completely woven into the fabric of everyday life, especially when it's time for dinner.
You can really see the region's Italian heritage in the food, which, of course, creates some amazing pairings. A nice, crisp, sparkling brute with some fresh seafood? Perfect. That sweeter muscatel with dessert? A classic. And hey, it's not all about the bubbles. A local Merlot is just fantastic with regional dishes like galeto, that's a kind of grilled spring chicken, or, a big bowl de pasta.
And honestly, this is what makes the wine culture here so incredibly special. Wine isn't something you save just for a big celebration. Nope, it's part of the community. It's shared at big, lively festivals and at quiet family dinners. It's really the thread that ties the past and the present together.
So, where does Garibaldi go from here? Well, even while they're celebrating this incredible history, they are absolutely looking straight ahead into the future.
And a huge part of that future is a deep, deep commitment to sustainability. We're seeing producers getting serious about protecting that precious terroir. They're using cover crops to keep the soil healthy, using super efficient drip irrigation to manage water, and even switching to clean energy like solar power. And look, this isn't just about being green for the sake of it. It's a smart, strategic move to protect the quality and the legacy of their wines for generations to come.
Now, the road ahead isn't without its bumps. There are real challenges, like adapting to climate change and trying to stand out in a seriously competitive global market. But the opportunities are just massive. Wine tourism, or enotourism, is exploding, and the winemakers themselves are always innovating, mixing that old-school tradition with new tech to make the wines even better.
Which brings us to one last big question. When you look at it, the deep historical roots, that one-of-a-kind terroir, and this clear vision for the future, Garibaldi has all the right ingredients. Its story is still being written. So the question really isn't if it'll get more recognition, but when. I mean, could we be watching right now the rise of the world's next great sparkling wine capital? It's something to think about.